This is week 3 orthos for the lumbar spine. So what I'm going to have my patient do, I am going to start with storks. I'm going to have my patient brace themselves on me. They can hold on. I'm going to have them put their leg as figure 4 and then lean back. Any reproduction of symptoms would be indicative of facet syndrome. They would have localized pain or any radicular pain. The next one I'm going to do is camps. With camps, I am going to have my patient laterally flex and then go into extension. So I'm going to have you go like this for me. Good. And then I'm going to have you laterally flex and extend. And then I'm going to move the joint. If my patient presented with localized pain, that would be indicative of facet syndrome. If my patient had any neurological symptoms like radicular pain, that would be indicative of disc occupying lesion. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to have my patient sit down, and I'm going to do slump. With slump, I am going to have my patient brace the leg up for me, and I'm going to have my patient flex down, and then I'm going to approximate both. If my patient presented with any neurological symptoms, radicular pain, that would be indicative of disc occupying lesion. It would be indicative of a space occupying lesion or a disc issue. The next one I'm going to do is going to be Betz-Truss. With Betz-Truss, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my patient brace themselves and actively raise the leg. If my patient presents with any radicular pain or neurological symptoms, that will be indicated of a space occupying lesion or a disc issue. My next test is going to be, I'm going to have my patient on their back, and I'm going to do passive SLR. With passive SLR, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be helping my patient raise their leg up. If my patient feels the same neurological symptoms on the same side, that would be a positive test for space occupying issue or a disc issue. Then I'm going to have my patient do active SLR. With active SLR, my patient's going to do it by themselves. And my patient has pain on the opposite side that is indicative of an anterior SI dysfunction. And then I am going to move forward with Bregards. With Bregards, I am going to take my patient into lifted, and then I'm going to dorsiflex. If my patient has any neurological symptoms, it would be indicative of space occupying lesion. And then after that, I'm going to do Fabiers. With Fabiers, I am going to have cross my patient's leg. I am going to stabilize, and then I'm going to put some here. And then if my patient has some deep localized pain, it would be indicative of femoral acetabular dysfunction, or it could also be indicative of SI dysfunction impingement. After this, we're going to be doing passive hyperextension. With passive hyperextension, I'm going to have my patient go prone. With passive hyperextension, I'm looking for the reproduction of invasive systems of localized pain. So I'm just going to come here and take them up. If my patient has localized pain, that would be indicated of facet syndrome. Then the next one that I'm going to do is I am going to do yeomans. With yeomans, I am going to lift this leg up, come here, and apply some pressure here. If my patient has any any pain, localized pain, I'm going to have them point to it, and that would be indicated of anterior SI dysfunction. The next one I'm going to move on is to springs, and with springs test and pronate stability, they go hand in hand. Springs test, I'm going to have my patient scoot a tiny foot down. Good. And with springs test, I'm going to apply some pressure, and I'm looking for general mobility. If my patient has any localized pain, I'm looking for hypermobility or hypomobility. It could have some pain, it could not. And then once my patient points to the pain, then I'm gonna move into prone instability. I'm gonna apply some pressure there. I'm gonna have them brace themselves, and I'm gonna have them lift the leg. If my patient lifts the leg and it alleviates their pain, that is a positive sign for prone instability. And I'm done.